Early 20th century Vienna, a portrait of a lady named Adele Bloch-Bauer. This lady was drawn. She was very affluent, as she was a well-known Viennese businessman's wife, and was therefore a generous patron of art. This couple was able to buy works from different artists and own a precious collection. Even 6 of the same painter's works were commissioned by this couple, which include 2 portraits of Mrs. Bloch-Bauer and 4 landscape paintings. The painting that is to be examined today is one of those 2 portraits. It's called the first portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer, or the Woman in Gold. It took almost 4 years to be completed, between 1903 and 1907. The materials used were oil paint and leaves of gold and silver. Since this painting was made, it was kept at Adele and Ferdinand Bloch-Bauer's house until 31 years later. That is, 20 years after this painter died at the age of 55, and 13 years after Adele died at the age of 43. In 1938, the Nazis occupied Vienna and started confiscating citizens' belongings, including this portrait and the diamond choker necklace that is worn by Adele in the portrait. The necklace went to Hermann Göring, who was one of the senior officials of the Nazi Party and Hitler's right-hand man, and he gifted it to his wife, Emmy. Until about a decade later, when Nazi Germany collapsed in 1945 and Hermann Göring was executed. The necklace also disappeared and was never found again. What happened to the painting? After the end of the Second World War and the downfall of Nazis, the painting was transferred to the Belvedere Museum in Vienna, and it wasn't returned to the Bloch-Bauer family. That is, the sole surviving member of the family, Maria Altmann, who was this couple's niece. As a result, Maria brought the case to court in the year 2000. The court procedure lasted for 5 years, until finally, in 2005, Maria succeeded in winning the case and getting the painting back. It's interesting to know that in 2015, a movie was made about this case. 1 year after taking this portrait back, that is, in 2006, when about a century had passed from the portrait's original production, Maria sold it to a New York gallery called Neue Galerie for $135 million. Maria died in 2011, and with her death, the story of the Bloch-Bauers ended forever. This portrait is still kept in the Neue Galerie in New York. Now, who is the brilliant painter? This guy. Gustav Klimt was a symbolist painter whose signature is use of gold leaves and decorative patterns in some of his works, which marks the golden period of Gustav Klimt. Since Gustav Klimt didn't keep a diary, there isn't much information about his personal life and the ideas behind his works. But according to the works left by him, he is clearly very much interested in the female figure as the only or the central subject of his paintings. Unlike many other painters, he doesn't even have a self-portrait. We can see this point in his simple dressing style. The most important collective action he took was becoming the leader of the Vienna Secession movement at the end of the 19th century. In this movement, Klimt and 20 other painters united against the Austrian Artists' Association, which was their only source of financial support, so as to be able to paint freely and explore styles other than only realism and naturalism. As a symbolist painter, almost all of Gustav Klimt's paintings have a dreamlike atmosphere. Look at the background of Adele's portrait. The circles and squares drawn behind the subject are all elements of dreams and fantasy, and the density of these shapes is clearly higher around Adele's head. It is as if she is surrounded by these dreamy golden shapes, which seem ideal and desirable in such a way that they're tormenting her. Adele's soulless and sad face intensifies the viewer's feeling of this woman being under pressure. And look at Adele's dress. You can see eyes, blue, brown, black, on her skirt. Maybe the reality of Adele's life is that while having a materialistically prosperous and glamorous life, which has always been the dream of many, she felt suffocated and pressured because of belonging to a famous Viennese family, and therefore constantly being under the spotlight. Now, let's see some illustrations inspired by this portrait, and don't forget to tell me about your visit to the Neue Galerie and this fabulous portrait, as well as your take on its symbolism in the comments below. Many thanks for watching, and goodbye.